Hello students, today I will discuss the first chapter of class 8 chemistry, matter and its composition. So in class 7 we have already read about matter. Matter is anything which has mass, occupies space and can be received by our sense organs. Examples we can take air, book, etc. Now matters are composed of small tiny particles which are known as molecules or atoms. The molecules of matter are always in motion, in random motion, and attract each other with a force called intermolecular force of attraction or interparticular force of attraction. Next one is states of matter. States of matter means the existence of matter in different states. According to it, matters can be classified as solid, liquid, and gas. Interconversion of states. Interconversion or interchange of states means the conversion of one state of matter to another state of matter. I've taken the example of water over here. Water can exist at solid state, which is known as ice, and water can exist as vapor state, which is known as, or gaseous state, which is known as steam. If we heat ice, it will become water, and on further heating or boiling, it will become steam. And the reverse way, the backward way, steam, by cooling we can get water, and by cooling water we can get ice. So this processes, so ice to water is known as melting, which can happen with the help of heat. Water to steam is known as evaporation or boiling. Steam to water is known as condensation. Water to ice is known as freezing. One more conversion step is there, that is directly from solid to vapor or gaseous state without forming the liquid. This process is known as sublimation, and the substances which can undergo sublimation, that means directly from solid to vapor, are known as sublimable substances. The examples are naphthalene, camphor, ammonium chloride, etc. Now, kinetic theory is responsible for this phenomenon of change of state of matter. Now, what is a theory? What are the postulates of kinetic theory? The postulates of kinetic theory are: matter is composed of very small particles called atoms and molecules. The constituent particles of a kind of matter are identical in all respects. These particles have space or gaps. That means there is a space or gap between two particles or two molecules in matter. This space is known as interparticular or intermolecular space. Between two particles or molecules, as I already said, the one force is existing between two particles or molecules. That particular force is known as intermolecular or interparticular force of attraction. This force helps the matter to hold together. Particles of matter are always in a state of random motion and possess kinetic energy, which increases with rising temperature. Next, let us differentiate solid, liquid and gases in according with their properties. First one, volume. Solids have definite volume, whereas liquids also have definite volume, but gases don't have any definite volume. Diffusion. Diffusion means spreading out, to spread out. Solids can diffuse into liquids. Diffusion is higher in case of liquids, diffusion is higher than solid, and in case of gases, diffusion is maximum, due to the reason that the space between the molecules or particles in case of gases is very high or very large. That's why their force of attraction will be very less. So due to the space, the molecules can diffuse, the gas molecules can diffuse. Compressibility. For solid, it is negligible because all the molecules are very tightly, very closely packed. In case of liquid, it is also negligible, but in case of gases, it is very high. Next one, rigidity or fluidity. In case of solid, it is very rigid due to tightly packed structure and cannot flow. In case of liquids, less rigid and can flow easily. In case of gases, no rigidity and can flow most easily. Density for the solid, it is very high. As I said, the same reason, the interparticular distance between two molecules are very less and they are very closely packed. In case of liquid, it is moderate. In case of gases, it is very low. Shape, solids have definite shape, whereas liquids don't, because if we pour the liquid in a container, the liquid will take the shape of that container. For the gases, the shape, they don't have any shape. Kinetic energy of particles at a given temperature, solids have least energy because kinetic energy depends on the motion of the particles. As there is less gap between two particles in solid, so their motion will be very less. In case of liquids, it is higher than solid, and for the gases, it is maximum. Interparticle space for the solid, it is least, for the liquid, it is lesser, and for gas, more than others. Interparticle force of attraction for the solid, very strong, for liquid, less strong, and for gas, very weak. Intermolecular forces, strong enough for solid, it is strong enough to hold the constituent particles fixed position. For the liquids, strong enough to hold the constituent particles in aggregation with the bulk but not in the fixed position. And for the gases, extremely low so that the constituent particles are free to move in a continuous random motion. In case of solids, the arrangement of the particles is very tight and it has a definite geometry. But in case of liquids, packed weak in comparison to solid, shape not fixed. In cases of gas, packed very poorly, so they fill the container, no definite shape. Next one is law of conservation of mass. The statement is, matter can neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction. It may change from one form to another form. Here I have taken one example, a reaction. I have written the equation like barium chloride reacts with sodium sulfate to form barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Here I have written all the atomic weights of the atom. Barium is 137, sulfur 32, oxygen 16, chlorine 35.5 and sodium 23. Now we will calculate the total mass of the reactant side and total mass of the product side by adding all the atomic masses. Now for the reactant side, barium 137 plus 2 chlorine, so 2 into 35.5 plus 2 sodium, 2 into 23 plus sulfur 32 plus oxygen, 4 oxygens are there, so 4 into 16. Total mass is coming 350. We are getting the total mass for the reactant side 350. Same we will do as for the product side. It is 137 plus 32 plus 4 into 16 plus for sodium chloride 23 plus 35.5. It is also coming 350. So students, you can see the total mass for the reactant side is equal to the total mass of the product side. This is the proof that law of conservation of mass is satisfying over here. Therefore, total mass of the reactants equal to total mass of products. Next one. Here some give reason type of questions are given. First, a gas can fill the whole vessel in which it is enclosed. We can explain like that because in gases the molecules are very free to move. They are not stuck to each other and intermolecular force of attraction is very less. That's why a gas can fill the whole vessel in which it is enclosed. Next question is, solid cannot be compressed. As I already said, the particles, the molecules of solids are very closely packed due to the less space between two molecules, less intermolecular space between two molecules. That's why they cannot be compressed. There is no space for compression. Next one, liquids can flow. Liquids can flow because in case of solid, in case of liquids, the intermolecular space between two molecules are more than the solid, and they can flow due to the less attraction between the molecules. Next one, when Mg is burnt in air, there is an increase in mass after the reaction. See, when Mg is burnt, MgO, that is magnesium oxide, is formed. Here the mass of magnesium oxide will be higher than the mass of magnesium. But burning cannot be occur without the presence of oxygen. So if you add the mass of oxygen with Mg, we will get the same mass for the reactants and products. These all were about the matter and its composition. Next class I will explain more question answer. Thank you.